which looks at the region as a whole, which is Ajahn Sri Papa's chapter, which speaks about international human rights law and all these conventions, and how come some of the worst countries in the region are party to the most number of conventions. You know, what are they thinking? Why are they doing this? Jonathan wrote about human rights monitoring bodies like human rights commissions in countries in Southeast Asia. And he argues that the Gandhi ranking is simply not accurate enough, and that there's so many ingenious and devious ways with which governments can actually repress the work of these bodies. I know Jonathan's here. Hello, Jonathan. Let's see. Janjira wrote about civil society in authoritarian regimes. Haripin from Indonesia writes about the continuing influence of the military in Indonesian political and economic life. DZ, who's also here. Hello, DZ. She suggested in her chapter a more subtle and refined approach when examining authoritarianism in Indonesia. Nothing's black and white, and it's inaccurate to paint it in that manner. Ekapant, who's here as well. Hello, Ek, long time no see. He speaks about the Thai military and how it has controlled and is actually now controlling Thailand. And his chapter is about, why is this so? I mean, why is there not a bigger and larger and more widespread opposition to this obviously anti-democratic method of governance? Pravid has written an interesting and sometimes amusing take on the press and authoritarianism from the lens of a working journalist, because he's the one chap in the group who's not an academic. He's an actual journalist, and his perspective is very interesting. And I wrote about, oh, this is so embarrassing. In 2018, at the Human Rights Conference we held in Manila, I spoke with a great deal of hubris about how Malaysia was now the shining light of democracy in Southeast Asia. Oh dear Lord, how things have changed. Yeah, there I was going, we are number one, but now we have a new government, and just like our change of government in the 2018 elections, which was very undramatic, our new government is also there in a very undramatic fashion. There wasn't any military coup. They just, a bunch of politicians decided to switch parties, you know, and it happened so quickly and suddenly, and now we really don't know what's going to happen. So, well, all I can say is don't read my chapter, right? It's absolutely, utterly worthless. So, one of the things that has happened, of course, is this horrible virus, which has meant that I haven't had a haircut in over 3 months. And it also meant that, for example, here in Malaysia, the new government has not faced the kind of scrutiny that it would have if there wasn't this virus, if people were allowed to move around freely, if people were allowed to gather, for example. I think there would have been probably a greater show of dissatisfaction, but that's not the case. And this just proves that, you know, this virus has a profound effect on human rights in the region. And this is what our speakers are going to talk about. And I will leave you now to our 3 speakers, beginning, of course, with the indomitable Ajahn Vitit, followed by the incredible Maita, and ending with the incredulous Dr. Sharon Kaur from University of Malaya. So, Ajahn Vitit, may I give it to you now?